my contact who sent me these sold them to me, and probably sold them to loads of other motorcycle YouTubers and websites, says that it's a street triple. So if you look at the engine, the main part of the frame, the tank, it does indeed look exactly like the current generation of the street triple. But boy, oh boy, does it look a mess. Like, this is very, very rudimentary, looks fairly early stages test bike. Some of the stuff you can pick out, mate. I mean, they've got these billet yokes and handlebar clamps, which are absolutely not standard fit. That's the sort of thing that it's like rapid prototyping, I guess. It wouldn't fit that on a production bike. It'd be too expensive. But what it does allow them to do, I guess, is make different parts and stick them on the bike and test it out. The dash looks quite low, I guess, for a naked.
Yeah, quite big too, actually.
Yeah, it's a big old slab. And then a teeny, relative to that anyway, a teeny weeny single round Triumph branded headlight that will be familiar. Well, it's either one eye of the face of the Rocket 3 or the little round headlight off the front of the Speed Triple RR, which is their semi-faired modern cafe racer type bike. Very interesting. I'll walk you through the pics and then we can try and make head or tail, which we might not be able to do, of what they're actually trying to build here. Like I say, you can see exactly the same 765 engine. But out at the back, what? This is absolutely not the sort of banana swing arm that they have on the Street Triple RS and R at the moment. This is either prototyped as well, so they can try a different geometry perhaps, or off a race bike or something. It's got that vibe, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. I can't quite imagine or sort of think of the bike, but I'm thinking sort of CBR, sort of swing arm, like you say, just sort of like an actual track ready bike, if you like, fully faired sort of thing. But it does also look like it's got some pretty basic welds on that thing. So yeah, I'd imagine that, like you say, is there to kind of work out geometry before you finesse and make the final piece.
Moto 2 vibes, maybe. Also, purple wheel on the back. I mean, that's not come off a Street Triple. I don't think they've ever had purple wheels.
That looks like one of my colleagues who buys wrecked bikes and category cat ends and does them back up, and he just ends up sticking any old wheel on, and it looks very much like that,
It's Aprilia vibes I'm getting there, actually. A single coloured wheel. Purple's one of their colours as well, but I doubt it. It's probably come off something in their workshop. Wavy disc. I mean, that's a bit of a throwback now to see those, and you don't really often see them on a Triumph. Chop the exhaust off as well, I guess, because there's this big, chunky bad boy swing arm. And you can also see they've got the little plates for things like the passenger foot pegs, which allow them to sort of move them around and try out different positions, I guess, and figure out what's most comfortable. Subframe, I'm not quite sure where this has come from, because I guess the normal Street Triple is all covered up with those, cowls and fairings and that sort of thing, but it doesn't look the same to me. Looks a little different. Looks like it angles up more, but like I say, that might be the lack of bodywork.
There's a weird sort of, not weird even, but a very distinct kind of kick up, like you say, to the pillion seat, to the rear, which is
I'm just going to have to look at one, mate. I'm going to have to look at a Street Triple 765 subframe. There's always one on eBay or something. No, you see, they're those cast aluminium things. It's like a shaped cast bolt-on thing. Who knows, mate? It definitely looks rather different. And then on the next couple of pics, you can see the headstock from the side. What's interesting is you've got these little fairing mounts on the side there. But the regular Street Triple does have some little cowls, so they could just be, that could be a standard frame and they're just from that. Or, with this little round headlight, are they putting a half fairing or a full fairing for a Daytona? And then at the back end, those are the little round LED indicators that you get from the modern classic sort of Bonneville lineup. It's an absolute Frankenstein of a test mule with all sorts of bits and pieces. And I don't know about you, mate, but I'm struggling for theories on what it might be. I mean, they're saying it could be the next Street Triple for 2026 or whatever, because they only just updated it last year. But I cannot see them dropping the twin headlights. Can you?
Well, they did the version for the Speed triple as well, right? So maybe they're going that route where you've got the option of the two, and they've got kind of, I don't know, a special edition, if you like. It's yeah, I'm not sure with that headlight. It's properly, they borrowed parts from all over, because that to me, it almost looks like the Bobber as well.
Yeah.
Or the Speedmaster kind of headlight. So yeah, an interesting kind of mix, and whether or not that's sort of, it's hard to determine whether any of these are like final form pieces or whether it is just to get the geometry before they start making stuff bespoke for this whatever model it is.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it, that you see all these different bits and bobs, and I think that you're probably right, actually. You know, the fact that the indicators are totally mismatched means they're probably just grabbing whatever they've got to get a headlight on
Literally, just a fistful of parts from the parts bin and just sort of like chuck it at it and see what sticks.
Unless they, you know, they've not put the street triple headlights on it to try and make it more difficult to figure out what it is, but I'm not falling for that.
Yeah, clever sort of espionage covert thing. Yeah, maybe it just looks nothing like this and they're trying to throw people off the scent. That would be clever.
2 reasons why I don't think it'd be a Daytona or like a street triple RR with a half fairing. That's what you'd think with this headlight, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Number one, it's still got flat bars on it, and the Speed triple RR, sorry, the 1200 has slightly clip-on style bars, and that'd be fundamental. You know, what's the point in getting all the pegs and riding position dialed if you're then going to later swap the bars? I just don't think that's going to happen. And secondly, I don't think the Speed triple RS has sold that well. That's the naked one. I think it, well, I don't know. I don't think it flew off the shelves anyway, because it did get a bit of a hard time about the suspension when it was launched. But the Speed triple RR, which is the faired version that presumably it would be based upon if they did a street triple version. Mate, I see those heavily discounted, so I find it quite difficult to believe that they would, based upon how that's sold, then go and build another smaller version. And what I will say as well is that it kind of validates what they've been saying for ages, which is there's no point in building a really aggressive Daytona again, because no one will buy it. And look, they made a sportier, faired, clip-on version of the Speed triple, and it's not exactly, you know, selling in big numbers, like I say. This is how many left, which tells you how many bikes are registered on the road of that particular model. 185 in the first year, 2022, and then it went up to 270, so that's another 85 sold on top in 2023. We obviously don't have 24 data yet, and that is as opposed to, there's no data for the 1200 RS, sorry, the naked version, so I can't compare that. But still, let's say they're not humongous numbers when you consider something like a street triple RS. You know, there's like, since 2017 when that came in, there's now 4,200 of those on the road in the UK. I just don't see them following up with another version of that, but smaller. And so I think, unfortunately, it's kind of boring news. I think they're just playing with the geometry and testing out new bits for the next gen.
Don't be like that. Maybe they're bringing it out. Maybe this is final form. Maybe it's very exciting news and Triumph are just going completely stripped back.
You know what, though, mate? Actually looking at it, without those little side panels on, with the round front, the little round front headlight, the big chunky swing arm, all the bodywork off that subframe, it does look rough, but imagine if like a really good custom builder took this concept and just neatened everything up. I think it'd actually look pretty cool. I'm not joking.
I think so. Including that swing arm. I want to stick that swing arm on there as well. Yeah,
it's an absolute chode of a swing arm, isn't it? It's massive.
We're back to dick jokes. Nice.